Hello everybody, Sir Beaton here and welcome back to another past paper practice. In this video we'll be looking at some consumer arithmetic questions, some multiple choice type questions. So let's head straight into the first one. So this one says, Mr. Jones buys a car for $64,000. The car depreciates by 20% in the first year and 10% in each year of the following years. The value of the car at the end of the second year is, so we want to find the value of the car after 2 years, and we have some conditions of how the car depreciates. So the value of the car after the first year would be 20% multiplied by, percent is out of 100, multiplied by 64,000. So this 0 go with that 0, this 0 will go with that 0, and 2 times 64 would be 128, and we add in the 2 zeros. So 20% of 64,000 would be 12,800. So the value of the car after the first year would be 64,000, subtract 12,800. So we know this 0 go with that 0, take here, it becomes 3. 8 from 10 would be 2, 2 from 3 would be 1, and 1 from 6 would be 5. So it's 51,200, that would be the value of the car after the first year. And then we see after that, the car depreciates by 10%. So in the second year, the car will go down. So it's 10 over 100 multiplied by 51,200. So this 0 go with that 0, this 0 go with that 0. And 10 times 512 would be 5,120. So we subtract this, so it would be 51,200. Subtract 5,120. So this 0 go from that 0. So we take 1 here, we put a 1 here. So 2 from 10 would be 8. 1 from 1 is 0. So 5 from 1 can go. So we take 1, it becomes 4. We put a 1 there. 5 from 11 would be 6. And we bring down the 4. So it's 46,080. So that would be the value of the car after 2 years, after it undergoes depreciation, 20% in the first year and 10% in the next year, which would be C. So that is the answer here. So the next question says, a man's taxable income is 20,000. If he pays tax at a rate of 28%, the amount of income tax he pays is, so we see it's 28%, so it's 28 over 100 multiplied by his taxable income, which is 20,000. So this 0 go with that 0, this 0 go with that 0. 28 times 2 would be 56, it's 5,600. 28 times 200 is 5,600. So the amount of income tax that he will pay would be 5,600, which is simply C. Next question says, the simple interest on a loan of 6,000 for 3 years was 900. What was the rate of interest per annum? So we know simple interest is equal to PRT, all divided by 100. So we know P is the principal, R is the rate, T is the time, and SI is the simple interest. So let's put in the values that we know. So we know simple interest was 900. So it's 900 is equal to, the principal would be the money invested or borrowed. So in this case, we had a loan of 6,000. So the principal would be 6,000 multiplied by the rate that we want to find, multiplied by the time in terms of years, which would be 3. And we divide this by 100. So this 0 go with that 0, this 0 go with that 0. So 6 times 3 is 18, 60 times 3 would be 180. So it's 180 multiplied by R, which is 180R. You know, 900 is equal to that. So to find for rate, the 180 is multiplying, take double divide, so we'll have 900 divided by 180 is equal to the rate. So this 0 go with that 0 immediately. And we can see rate is equal to 90 over 18. So we can break this down further. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 90 divided by 2 is 45. So we see 9 can go in the 45 5 times. So the rate is equal to 5%. So the rate is 5%. So the answer here would be C, 5%. Next question says, a dress which costs $180 is being sold at a discount of 10%. The amount of the discount is, So in this case, we want to find the amount of the discount and not the cost of the dress after the discount. So we just got to find the amount. So this would be 10%, which is 10 over 100 multiplied by 180. So this 0 go with that 0, this 0 go with that 0. 1 times 18 would be 18. So the amount of discount would be $18, which is C. The next question says, the item refers to the following table, which shows the rates charged by an insurance company. So we have house insurance is 25 cents per every 100, and contents insurance is 50 cents per every 100. So how much will a person pay for insurance if his house is valued at 50,000 and the contents at 10,000? So let's find how much he will pay for the house insurance. So we can say the house. So we know it's the value is 50,000, and we see it's pay a rate of per every 100. So let's find how many hundreds we can have in this 50,000. So it's 50,000 divided by 100. This 0 go with that 0. This 0 go with that 0. So we have 500. So then we multiply this by, now 25 cents is the same as 0.25. So this will become, we multiply, we jump the point out here. So this will be 500 multiplied by 25. So we put a 0 here. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. So 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 would be 25. So we add this up, we'll get 12,500. And of course, because we move the point out 2 times, you have to move it back in 2 times. So this will actually be 1, 2. So this is equal to $125 in insurance for the house. So the next thing we want to find was the contents. So for the contents, we see it's per every 100 again. So let's find how many hundreds you can find in this 10,000, which is the cost of that. So it's 10,000 divided by 100. This 0 go with that 0. This 0 go with that 0. So it's 100. And then we multiply this 100 by the insurance, which is 50 cents. Now 50 cents is the same as 0.50. So you jump the point 1, 2. So this will be multiplied by 50. If you multiply this by 50, we'll simply get, add the 2 zeros, 5,000. And because we jumped out 2 times, it was jump in back 2 times, so we jump 1, 2. So it's $50 for the contents insurance. So in total, they will pay a total of 125 plus 50, which will give us 0 and 5 is 5, 2 and 5 is 7, and 1. So it's $175 in total for insurance for the house and the contents. So this answer is simply A, 175. So with that, this has brought me to the end of this video in which I tackled some consumer arithmetic type multiple choice questions. So I want you to use these concepts from this video and practice them in some additional questions on your own. So until then, I'll see you in the next video in which I'll be looking at some more questions. Take care.